On this episode of Small Town Western New York, I'm headed to a place that's one of the most misunderstood towns in all of Western New York. You know, for most of the planet, this place is simply known as the home to the stadium where the Buffalo Bills play. And for us Western New Yorkers who don't live there, well, we kind of just draw a blank on the place, outside of knowing that it has one of the great parks in the region. I'm headed to the town of Orchard Park. I started my day in town at the regionally famous Chestnut Park, where, right off the bat, the view from atop the hill always strikes me as the absolute best in all of Western New York, with a view that reaches as far as your eye can see. It's really something to experience, even if you come for nothing else. The casino here is a pretty spectacular stone and wood beamed behemoth that's been lording over the hill here since 1925, and has meeting rooms and a newly updated cafe offering food and beverages as well as snowshoe and toboggan rentals in winter. The park was acquired by Erie County in 1926 and was one of the county's very first parks, and to this day remains its largest. Its name was derived, of course, after the sheer amount of chestnut trees lining the hills throughout its 1,200 plus acres. One of the highlights here is the lake. It's a fully stocked fishing lake that offers a large dock and clean, well-manicured trails, and to me is a perfect size for a quick and easy hike around its perimeters. Whenever I'm here, it never fails to be a gorgeous walk any time of the year, especially in fall. The commissioner's cabin at the end of the lake can also be rented from April till November. And as far as parks go, although Chestnut Ridge is pretty hard to beat, and is also open to the public, there's a little-known secret gem of a park I thought I'd take a look at on my way into the village, that while it's only open to Orchard Park residents, is still worth a look as I think it's one of the best examples of a perfectly executed community park and lake. Green Lake Yates Park was smartly planned among a community of residential tree-lined side streets with townhomes and condos and older homes, and features so much to do that it's kind of its own day trip destination all on its own, with paths and parks and shelters and, yes, a beautiful beach. As I was sitting on the wall of the beach, watching everyone having a great time, I noticed a fishing pier extending pretty far out of the shore on the end of the lake, and I had to go check it out. The path that took me there actually extended right into the surrounding neighborhoods, providing green and natural residential access to the park any time of the year. And I shouldn't forget all the watercraft I saw while I was there, making Green Lake Yates Park an incredible gem in Orchard Park that provides a perfect template for other towns to follow. I was so absorbed in all that I was witnessing at Green Lake that I simply forgot the time and really had to get into town to explore more. So off I drove into the village, with my first stop being the library campus, which all told features not only a very well-appointed and loved library, but an old train depot which served the Buffalo and Pittsburgh Railroad back in the day, and now has been resuscitated and is in impeccable condition. And just across the street from the library sits a beautifully carved statue in honor of the Quaker founders of the town that's really worth a stop by to admire it in person. And speaking of statues, I soon discovered more at the Veterans Park a little further down into the village that are equally beautiful, as is the small contemplative park itself. Situated just off of the Four Corners in the heart of the village, the park is a sight to behold, with a colorful flower bed and some sitting areas to reflect and unwind. And what's a stop by any town if you don't check out the main street? Well, the main shopping and dining area of the village of Orchard Park is where I think it's really starting to shine, as the entire block here is full of great restaurants, as well as all sorts of truly unique shops you'd be hard-pressed to find anywhere else. One thing I really appreciated as I was exploring the village was the restoration, reuse, and reimagining of the buildings and spaces here, with plenty of mixed-use buildings. Infill rather than outfill is always a smarter decision, and I applaud the village on their collective creativity and resourcefulness in that regard. While it's certainly appropriately named Orchard Park, with its sheer wealth of parks, green space, and bucolic tree-lined streets, it's also a town of history that hasn't forgotten its roots. It's a town and village that has a tight grip on building a smart future for its residents, and is truly so much more than just the home of the Buffalo Bills. It's a fun day of exploring, dining, and shopping for any taste, age, and budget. This episode of Small Town Western New York was made possible by the following supporters.